VHS. If you're my age, you probably have some pretty distinct memories of watching rented movies on VHS. I myself remember watching The Goonies on VHS and being surprised when I put the tape in and it was at the end of the movie. I remember my mom explaining to me the way VHS tapes work, and that you have to rewind them when you're done watching them because the tape is literally at the end of the movie. At the time I just didn't get it, which, I mean, how could I? I'd only ever used DVDs and CDs, and surely these worked the same way, but no, they're very different. Before we talk about how to record our own things onto VHS, let's go over the history a little bit. VHS has been around for a long time. Longer than you might think. The idea behind VHS really started to conceptualize in 1956 when a company called Ampex made the first commercially successful videotape format called the VRX 1000. The VRX 1000 was really revolutionary for the time. Previously, television and broadcast stations had to dedicate countless hours and resources for developing film and splicing it together. But now, you could just record straight to the film itself. This new development in the broadcasting world really ticked off a certain vice president at the Japan Victor Company by the name of Kenjiro Takiyanagi. Kenjiro is a pretty interesting guy. Among other things, he's one of the first people to invent the functional cathode ray television. So, not all that important. 1959, Kenjiro and JVC worked together on a prototype tape format, and it would take them only a single year to refine it for standardized color TV broadcast. This format became JVC's DV220, and it would stay as JVC's main broadcasting format until the mid-70s. The reason that changed was because JVC partnered with their parent company, Matsushita Electric, as well as Sony, to work on a tape format that would be fit for consumers based off of the DV220. The product of this collaboration was likely what set off the videotape format war of the 70s and 80s, the U-Matic. The U-Matic was an absolute game changer. You're telling me I can just take a video of my cat and then put it in the player and then I can just watch it and it just plays? Sounds crazy to say nowadays, but in the 70s, it's unbelievable. The U-Matic was a massive commercial success in Japan, and because of that, it really got the broadcasting bigwigs drooling. And this really is what set off the aforementioned videotape format war. So, Sony started working on their own format, Betamax. JVC started working on VHS, and Matsushita Electric started working on VX. Oh, it was called The Great Time Machine in America. You could probably see why most people haven't heard of Matsushita Electric. Come the mid-80s, you were either all in on Betamax or all in on VHS. VHS was cheaper, could hold up to 6 hours of content, and VCR tech was licensed out to other manufacturers, so they're relatively easier to get your hands on. But Betamax, it looked better. You could only record about an hour and a half of stuff. Also, Betamax players were exclusive to Sony, so they were pretty expensive and difficult to find. What were not listing cons? Sony's decision to make Betamax a Sony exclusive product was really what made it dead in the water, unfortunately. There's a lot of people that stand by it because it looks better, but personally, I think VHS and Betamax both look pretty terrible. But that's what makes them so charming, you know? It's really cool to look back at these old formats that were at the forefront of technology and look at them today. Things like vinyl records, VHS, cassette, CDs, hell, even Laserdisc. All of these were really supposed to be the next big thing, but now they're just novelties. Hell, even DVD is outdated for Blu-ray. I bought this for like $1 at a thrift store. I don't know why I own this. Well, anyway, I'm bored. Let's record something on VHS. Now, in order to record onto VHS, we're going to need a couple things. Starting with stuff you probably already have, 2 male-to-male AV cables and an HDMI cable. AV cables you can get everywhere. Thrift stores, Amazon, that one box of cables you've had in your closet that you haven't looked at in 3 years. Same with HDMI cables. Super common. Next, a computer. Laptop will be easier, but if you only have a desktop, that's fine. You just gotta make sure you have an HDMI port on it. I'd be surprised if you didn't, but worth mentioning. Next thing you probably already have is a TV. It's a fairly modern TV, it might not have AV inputs, so make sure you find one that does have AV inputs. If you somehow don't have a TV, they can also be found pretty frequently at thrift stores. Just make sure you find one that works and one that has AV inputs. These next two things are vital. VHS tapes, obviously. And VCR. I personally recommend looking for VCRs at thrift stores. Again, there's almost always a VCR there that I guarantee you works perfectly fine. One thing to look out for on VCRs is an input button. Very rarely will a VCR have a way to change the input on the front of the unit itself. Most of the time you'll need a remote. So because of that, try to prioritize a unit that comes with a remote. You can make it work without a remote, it's just a pain. Now, VHS tapes. Where do you find them? Literally everywhere. In fact, perfect. Okay, seriously. Once again, thrift stores are your friend. But not big thrift stores, smaller thrift stores. In my experience, more corporate thrift stores won't even carry blank tapes like this, they only carry movies. Which, if you don't care about taping over a movie, go ahead, I can't stop you. I'll just judge you for destroying technological history. Okay, this I gotta see. Sorry, there was a falcon on my deck. Oh, also, Etsy. There are a ton of people selling packages of unused blank tapes that are a little expensive, but if you don't care about paying, it'll make your life way easier. Okay, let's get started. First, plug in your TV and your VCR. Make sure they actually work. Then, take your AV cable, plug it into the back of the TV, then put the other end in the back of the VCR. Not the front, don't do that. I guess I should do the same. Next, take your VHS tape and take a look at it. VHS tapes spin the tape from the left side to the right side, so if the tape is on the right, it's at the end and you're going to have to rewind it. With that in mind, you're going to take your VHS tape, label side facing you, and you're going to put it into the VCR. Before we actually start messing with the tape, there's something I need to explain. VCRs have 3 different recording modes. SP, standing for standard play, LP, standing for long play, and EP, standing for extended play. 90% of blank VHS tapes you find are going to be what's called a T120 tape. T120s can be recorded at 2 hours on standard play, 4 hours on long play, or 6 hours on extended play. Here's the annoying thing. Let's say you found a T120. This T120 has 6 hours of whatever recorded onto it, some TV broadcast. And you have a 30-minute video that you want to put onto this tape. You're going to have to put your VCR on standard play, go back to the very beginning of the tape, and blank record over the whole thing to clean it up, so that when your video is done, it doesn't immediately cut back to that video that was on it beforehand. You can do this by simply just rewinding the tape to the very beginning and hitting the record button. Most VCRs you can only change the record type while you're recording, but once you're on standard play, since we have nothing plugged into the VCR, it's just going to record nothing onto the tape and it'll just clean it for you. After give or take 2 hours, you'll have an empty tape to play with. If you don't care about whatever was already on the tape showing up, then you can just skip this and save yourself the time. Now that your tape is ready, let's get started. One last thing I forgot to mention. The last thing you're going to need is an HDMI to AV converter. You can find these on Amazon for about $15. So, next thing you're going to do, take your computer, take your HDMI cable and plug it into the computer. Then you're going to take your AV cable, plug it into your VCR, and connect it to your computer via the converter. Make sure to plug the AV cable into the front of the VCR. This is the input. If you're lucky, your laptop should just show up on your TV. If not, you may have to mess with your remote a little bit. There should be a button labeled Input or Aux. If you're not finding anything, it might be worth looking into your VCR online. Or just start hitting buttons. Works for me. Now, we're not quite ready to start recording onto VHS. You could, but I have some recommendations. Take the video you want to put onto VHS and put it into your video editing software of your choice. Add a couple seconds of black to the beginning, 10 to 15, just so that you can prepare to start recording once you play the video. You don't want to accidentally start recording mid-video. If you're going for quality, I recommend recording in SP. However, if you're going for that real VHS authenticity, EP looks tastefully garbage. So there you go. You have everything you need to know for making your own VHS tapes. Have fun with it. It's an expensive hobby.
But that's not me. I don't know who that is. They trapped me in a VHS tape. You gotta help me.
Shut up!